Alrighty, guys. Well, welcome back. We got round 5 here, so we're going into last round. On the
Ruined your
left
whole
side,
game
we've
with that.
actually got Luke Diddy, so he is only
Let's
played
roll
Magic
Pyro for
twice.
Oh, yep,
So he is actually borrowing a Boros
Eight.
energy
Good.
deck. So
That's
he's
better.
actually been playing pretty well for ever playing twice.
Now I'm
So
actually in
pretty cool to
danger.
see, just kind of getting some new players introduced to it. That was the main reason for this tournament. Proxies were allowed on the right side. Frank actually taught Frank how to play when we were in college, and ever since then he's been a menace with the fish. So
That's for sure.
he's on mono blue fish.
The fish are feared around here, that's for sure. But like you said, Diddy on his second ever tournament and en route to top 4. This is a win and in round 5. If Diddy wins this round, he'll be a lock for the top 4. I think we've got a bit of a competition for the
And for
fourth
the first
slot.
time I realized what it's like to actually know what's happening.
Did you play that?
On the other side of the board, I knew what was going on.
I want to say.
Yeah, we proxied some. We got that one, and we got Austin's deck
You and
too.
a couple other players.
Yeah, I think there
that's
was
like
about
basically
4
what we
people
were
that were
playing.
really in the big
This
contention
comes
for
in
it.
and it's not
Luckily, one
tapped.
of my only losses was to Frank, who is currently 4-0 at
I'm
this
telling you,
moment.
but I'm also telling
So
myself.
I'm just waiting to see what happens here.
For sure, and intimidating for
Then I
Diddy as
get
well to be going up against the only undefeated player in the tournament that remains.
I do this
With,
until I get
as you
it.
mentioned, this fish flooding out over everyone.
He's gonna
So I
hit such
can use this for
a
one,
great
so
combo
take
here
four
with the
damage.
Amped Raptor. Gonna get a
I
early
can't
bolt off,
for that, right?
unfortunately. Nothing to hit with it.
Alright,
but
and then
still a great start.
guess I'll
He's gonna
attack
get
with this
really
guy
hit with
too.
Ragavan, which
I know.
you can't beat that. So he's gonna get a little bit of a a mana advantage / let's see what he gets off the exile here.
Yeah,
Oh,
very
do we
aggressive
want-
start from the Boros energy deck on the left, but no slouch of a start from fish on the right. I
So
imagine
you
turn 1 Aether Vial is exactly what you're looking for.
And then I'm gonna
I think you've only ever got one drop in the whole deck, and Aether Vial really gives you that mana advantage to be able to hold up counter spells as you're continuing to throw out wards and threats and all of the menacing creatures that Merfolk has received in the past couple of dungeons.
And then I
get a treasure.
Yes.
Honestly, it's just one of those decks that you don't really truly prepare for, and it comes out and just swings at you. It's hard to do.
And then I steal the top of your deck, right?
Well, it's exiled. You can cast it this turn.
But I can't play it
Not
because
as
Yeah. Well, you can pay any color, but you don't have enough mana.
so it doesn't matter.
and can also play that blood so not as prone to the
Alright, my go.
Harping to shut it
Tap.
down.
For sure, definitely staying in 2 colors affords the deck a lot of advantage
I
in
can
those types of
put
situations.
stuff. I'm gonna play it by
It's
tapping it.
very tempting in a
Cost equals
format
what's
like
on
Modern with the powerful fetch lands and shock lands and triumphs and all the great mana options that we have to branch out into 3 colors. I have not been able to discipline myself enough in the last 10 years
Play a
to
silver
be able to
gold
play only a 2-color deck, but Diddy definitely
Revealing.
the
I have to
advantage
show
of
you
that
the
in this
Merfolk card in my
matchup.
hand.
Just explain it. I don't know.
This
Yeah,
one,
interesting.
indestructible back to Merfolk. Gives out a Merfolk.
Frank said that.
Draws a card back. This, when this enters, I draw a card.
Orcish Bowmaster's coming out. The only thing that really dies to it at this point in time,
Attacks,
because that was a big
summon
heavy
sickness,
hitter against
second
these
main,
small creature decks. And that Silver Bill Adept is the only one that actually dies to it in the deck. So super resilient now. Not only is partial control, but able to just take the beat, give the beat downs.
Yeah, definitely. Against the
Another Amped Raptor.
creatures and implemented a lot of 1 toughness creatures with powerful effect strapped to them in the last couple of years. That it's really incentivized cards like Plague Engineer, Lava Dart,
And
all
then
of those
you take 3 damage
small
when I
pieces
hit
of
that.
removal that
that
just
and
do
gain
not
3.
stack up
And
well
hit that, and then I gain
against
3 life.
creatures with
23.
And then this goes over here.
Yeah, he's going to hit a Flasia
And then,
with the Amp Trap
I can
here.
attack with
Nice, and open up the board for
Yes,
a
you
good
can.
swing in with another Ragavan.
You get another, so I put
That's
on
huge.
a dice on there. I get 2 treasures now.
Oh, I have 2 treasures? Oh, yeah.
He's just going to let it go
Silver
through.
Bill Adept.
Hits another Silver Bill.
I can play that, right? Because I use these. But I
can't.
sacrifice it?
You can't pay the extra
even
cost,
if
though.
Diddy were
Oh,
to
okay.
try to
Cost
cast
5
that,
or reveal a Merfolk, which I don't think you have.
to try to hit its 3rd land there, but
I got
Yes.
treasure tokens
What's up?
making up for
upkeep good
while
too.
he is falling behind in
Draw.
the mana race. I don't think he's suffering too much from it at this
Best,
point.
not the worst.
No, still being able to hit the flage. I'm not sure how many cards he has in his graveyard since it's off screen, but
Yeah, when you cast, you tap 2 mountains and cast 5 mana worth of spells, missing your 3rd land drop doesn't feel quite as bad in that instance.
no,
Tap 3.
no, pretty solid. Flage is an extremely good card. Oh, we do have.
And
Lord? No, not Lord of Atlantis.
go.
Nope. That's going to be the 3-drop mono blue. It does have hexproof if you have multiple other fish, which I think it's 2 other fish.
Yes, indestructible if you have 2 other fish, and it gives ward to the other ones as well.
Yeah, it does give that card draw advantage, which is really nice. So,
all my small deal.
and that is the Cellar of the Sea and Sky for the. I was trying to figure out remember how to pronounce it, but
That's one that I wouldn't have pronounced even reading it off the
Oh, yeah,
paper.
okay, so that's the one left. And then, so that's,
well, it's hard to kind of read his handwriting, but yeah, we'll take what we can
this is,
get.
Yeah,
that
fair
was
enough.
going to be planned.
Everybody has to print their deck list and
Flage.
move side
Yep,
up
and
moving
then
forward.
3, but I
Looks like
can't.
we've got another Flage being cast from hand, going after the, I believe that's a
I gain 3.
3, 4
26, I get 8.
Yes,
creature.
I do believe. Which actually, I kind of like this play if he's trying to get in.
Yeah, I'd almost rather that
Oh, no, wait.
of Sea and Sky. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the first name of it, but I'd almost rather attack with all 3, get him to commit some damage to it prior to the
This gives
Flage.
other
If you,
Merfolk +1/+1.
if you wait till your second main
So if
phase
you
on
have
that
an island,
Flage, you might be able to
island.
remove that powerful
So he's a
creature
4/5.
while still getting in for 4 damage.
Untap.
Sure, you have to trade off a Raptor or a Ragadan in the process, but they're getting to the phase of the game where they're not going to matter much anymore anyway. Might as well get some value out of them while you can.
Yeah, I think just trying to get rid of that thing before it gets the indestructible and it gives everything else that ward. So
For sure. Yeah, that becomes a sequence that's very difficult to deal with until you get that removed from the table. You either need some type of edict effect for the
I
highest
now
value,
have 2 other Merfolk. So he's
or
on. He's
I suppose an exile effect for it as well would work.
go to
super
combat.
underrated card here too with that.
Attack. When he attacks, I
That
get a trigger.
Rashad
That
Dockhand
draws
there
my
he's
card.
played. It does help block down some of that mana sometimes, and has that island block even in addition to getting it from the board. So very underrated card. It's definitely put me in some tough spots, especially with
Yeah.
being
Okay.
It looks great in situations like this where Diddy's struggling on lands. He's got those 2 red sources and no white sources. I don't know for sure if he has the white removal in his hand, the 1-drop enchantment that makes 3 energy. But that might be a solid answer for that powerful 3-drop on Frank's side.
Yeah, definitely Static Prison, great card. Honestly, as soon as I saw that card printed, I thought I have to get this card. I don't know why. It just looked great. And then when the energy deck came around, it showed why.
Yeah.
Why it was so good.
And there's been similar cards to that in the past. Soul Tithe comes to mind as an example where they have to pay for the cost of the spell to keep it around. Soul Tithe not being a particularly impressive card, but with the energy mechanic getting involved and giving the choice to the player who cast it, it really has turned the tides on that card. And 3 full turns in Modern, most games are going to wrap up at that point. Whenever you've found a threat that's worthy of casting that on it, 3 turns later, the game is likely to have ended at that point.
Yeah, I think Frank's in just in a really good position here. I think Diddy's just a little bit late.
And then
Frank with
I'm gonna use these
another
two,
Svaelund in hand, another Lord in
this
hand,
one
some Force
for
Negation to
playing, so this is gone.
control some of that. So I think he's just a really good spot.
Flage.
And
Yes, another
Flage number
Flage,
3
and
coming
then
down, although a
I
powerful card,
think I should
not something
just-
you really want to draw
should I
3
just
of
do
in a
3 damage
game,
again? Yeah, to you.
especially when you're
Yeah.
short on lands. Those 3 drops can really jam up your
Play a
curve,
creature.
really make
You
it
gain 1
difficult to
life.
sequence your
And
spells to
one
some
energy.
respect.
Also have to be a little bit careful because
And then this
Frank
immediately
does
dies
play
and goes back.
Tashana Tidebender
And
in
then-
this main deck too. So incredible card, really catches you off guard with that flash, and he's got the vial up on 3, so definitely have to play around that and be careful. But Diddy being new, I don't think he's thinking about that. He's just going.
Yeah, for sure. The Tidebinder interacting with Flage, correct me if I'm wrong here, Tidebinder makes it so that none of the activated abilities or triggered abilities of the permanent trigger anymore.
Go
So
to combat.
if he Tidebinders that
Swing,
play,
4 or
it
5
won't
stealing.
require
So you
Diddy to
drive.
sacrifice it anymore. Isn't that correct?
Or you hit it for 4.
Oh no, that's
This will hit
potentially.
you for 4 if it
So
goes
while it'll lose the ability for the lightning helix, I'll take a 3-mana 6/6 if he wants to Tidebinder that. Unless I'm.
But that's not a
Okay.
triggered ability, correct? So like it's a sacrifice.
It's when this enters the battlefield, sacrifice it unless it was escaped, I believe.
Yeah.
So it will be triggered ability.
So it's good actual knowledge to have.
Yeah. I could be misrepresenting what Tachana's does. I feel pretty confident about what Plage does, but Tachana's is one of those cards that has a book of text on the front of it, so it's difficult to remember every little minutia. Frank taking a minute to consider his mana here. I think I see either a Sink into Stupor or a Subtlety
I'll play second Aether
brought to
Vial.
the front of his hand. Playing a second Aether Vial may not come into play, might not have the opportunity to get counters on it to impact the board, but he has seemed to have stabilized here with the Lords and the Rashadan Port style creature in play.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to. I think he's playing smart here. I think he understands how good this energy deck can just come back in an instant. So trying to keep something up for that.
And one of the main avenues that I see for Diddy on the left is remembering these energy triggers to
Sink into
make
Stupor, I'm gonna
any
return
one
to
of his
hand.
creatures into a plus 2.
That sucks
Whatever
for me.
it is.
Alright,
So it gets +2/+2 on the counters, the 2 +1/+1 counters, and then it can gives the angel flying and
Yeah, notably the flying here to get over
Okay,
the
first strike means like if you try to block with this dies and this stays alive.
would be quite relevant, but I think
In that
we're
case,
missing
yes.
some
Yeah,
of our
but
energy
this
triggers
one
on the
could
left.
block this.
Yes, because it'll survive the first strike.
Well,
So if
the
I
second
attack with both of these, one dies because block, but one gets through. And
I can't
didn't
block
quite
with
miss
this.
that one at least. So I can
attack with both of these?
but
I mean, I don't want to tell you what to do
think he's
too much.
missed any
'cause
so
I've got
far.
I'll try it. I gotta go for gold. I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
try and attack
Getting
with
in
this.
here
I'll
with
attack with
the
both of
them.
two
Before we move to
raptors
blockers.
after holding them back for a couple of
Aether Vial
turns.
activation.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Might
place
just be a
another
little
Sphaelin.
too late on this
It's a
attack.
legend, so this one dies.
They're interesting.
Go to
We're
blockers.
essentially sacrificing a card just to give it vigilance, but
This
it
is a 2,
doesn't
3,
appear it's going to work out well for
this
him here
is
to
a
not
4,
have to
5.
trade off his
So I'll
lord.
go to them.
Yeah. And so they both
Yeah,
go.
and get that
And you both
that
stay.
indestructibility there with the Salem.
Yeah.
Aether Vials open are always scary. Yeah, I gave no advice.
But he's still
I got
constrained on lands. It's
Untap.
tough for him
Upkeep.
to cast multiple spells in one turn at this point. I don't know quite how many cards he has in hand, but I imagine it's quite a few still, considering he's on 3 lands on what has to be at least turn 6 or 7 of the game.
I've got to
Yeah,
start.
hard to tell. So he's been keeping his cards pretty close, but looks like Frank's still got a Force Negation hand, another Lord, and now Silvergill Depth. So just a lot of card draw advantage here. Going to continue, I think, to control this board and start to put the beat downs here soon.
Definitely, yeah. It seems like Frank
gonna
has
play
stabilized the board. I wouldn't be surprised to see him
Lord of
start to get
Atlantis.
in with
does
some
the
of
same
these
thing as this
creatures,
These are
especially that
+1/+1.
of Sea and Sky card that
Yeah,
draws you.
open.
draws
No,
you from
don't
an
do that.
attack.
I think with that second Lord, yeah,
Combat.
everything's going to be coming in here.
Yeah, it looks like the Lord is
3,
getting frisky here as
5.
well.
Because this attack,
And I
I draw
suppose
a card.
Diddy doesn't even have the option to block
Blocks.
with the no. He doesn't have
No, yeah, that's
This
the only, I
will
think
be-
that's what's been keeping him back so long is that he doesn't have anything that's
8, so 14.
controlling Diddy's lanes become
My
islands.
turn?
But
Yeah, so we'll go to your
Getting
turn.
more
So you're going to
basic
untap, but then before you draw on your upkeep,
with his mana base,
I'm going to tap this to tap your.
We're tapping down the white source and the
It's just
upkeep.
tapped.
Oh, to tap it.
Diddy
You can tap it and
so
respond, but the
destroy.
mana will go away once you tap.
No, luckily, it's just a tap,
Although not
Okay,
too many white
one
instants
life.
in Diddy's deck, that's pretty
Set on
close
that.
to the same, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah, so it looks like I saw a Guide of Souls in hand there, but I don't think that's
So 13.
going to fully help the case. We'll see. He goes and gets another basic, not a terrible decision.
And we'll see if he can utilize this mana effectively, as he's got 3 lands. I believe that Marsh Flats is bound for the graveyard.
Oh wait, this goes over here. Yep.
And
So
see
now I'm gonna play.
what Diddy has to offer here. He's only got 5 points of damage that need to sneak through, so getting that energy and pumping in with a flyer is really his best route to victory at this point. I think you keep that Guide of Souls. Yep, just jam up the board as much as you can with some token generation.
Okay, so you gain a life.
Hope that Frank doesn't find a way to turn one of your lanes into an island.
Yeah, that's what this deck does best. It just comes back out of nowhere. So he should get those 2 triggers here, and he should be able to. Let's see if he actually wants to go in with.
Alright,
Guide
and
of Souls. I wouldn't think it'd be a terrible decision to try to attack over everything.
So,
Guide of Souls is another of those cards with an absolute monitor on the front of it. So quite possible, like you mentioned, that with this being Diddy's second tournament, it's just a little too much to read, a little too much to keep track of. It's also a pretty innocuous part of the card that's really powerful, and it doesn't stand out initially. You don't picture pump spells or pump abilities as playing a major role in Modern. You picture the triggered abilities, enters the battlefield abilities is where you get your value, but Guide of Souls definitely with the extra threat stapled onto the end of it.
Yeah, I'm assuming he's probably just thinking, hey, if he attacks in, I'm going to block with this cat, and then kind of force the Ajani and go from there, but these fish are starting to get pretty big.
Yeah, they are. They're really getting out of hand.
At this point, they're getting +3, or well, yeah, the other ones are getting +3, and the Lords are getting their +2, So
yeah, we have some Leviathan splashing around on Frank's side of the board, and I think this Mutavault is considering getting busy here as well.
that's what I was gonna say. I think it's just sneaking down in there, and it's ready to come out as well.
So this is a 4/4.
Let's see what he's gonna do here.
4/4. And a 6/7.
Doing some math. Math is for attackers, according to Frank.
sacrifices for the 6/7.
Yeah, you gotta be.
Yeah, so
You gotta do some math.
attackers are
and coming
declared.
up
I
with
draw a
fish.
card.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's why he's sitting it undefeated.
we go
While
to
the rest of us are
blockers.
taking our losses, splashing around in the kiddie pool.
Activate Aether
Yeah,
Vial.
Frank has been pretty dominant these last couple of tournaments, and yeah, here comes the Harbinger. So
Basics
that
and islands.
damage is,
So that's an island.
we would think, but he is able
It's
to get
just an
that
island
island
now. All
block.
non-basics are islands.
Pointing out that the Arena of Glory now makes his creatures
that works.
unblockable.
Hey, Jared,
It's
question.
now an island.
Should make
So
sure
we're
I
gonna
can do
get
this.
in with what? So
If I draw a card when this is an attack trigger, draw a card.
another
So we still haven't gone to
so
blocks.
I'm gonna total
Do I still have a
11.
chance to make another action and pile
That's
this in?
what I count here
I
as
think I am
well.
right. Okay, I just want to make sure. So that's an island. So these are unblockable.
But what is the island mean?
A draw.
It is just an island.
Frank
Yeah, it's
from,
nothing else. Pretend this is a basic
see the
island
sky
like this.
Oh, okay. But it, okay.
Yep.
So it does nothing but
claiming
produce a blue
effect
mana,
of-
and it's called an
of
island.
the flood
Blue
moon
that's what I was
there.
gonna
Well, I
ask.
thought he was showing off his guru
So
land there.
4, 7. That's 15.
Because this $1,300
It's they're all unblockable.
proxy.
Oh, they're all unblockable.
Yes.
I guess if you're gonna
Game two.
yeah, I guess if you're gonna proxy your basics, that's
I was
the way
gonna
to do it.
have you.
And
Go
Yeah, I know.
concession from
You
Diddy on
wouldn't
the
stop
left here.
taking my mana.
Frank goes to 1
Yeah.
and
You
match.
can't block these.
And let's
What's
take a look
that?
at
Yeah, I know. I was getting
Two
I was getting
turns.
close to getting burned out.
Frank with a nice streamlined
You kept taking
sideboard
my
there,
mana.
knows what he wants with the 4 chalices, 2 dismembers, 3 subtleties, 3 causes, and 3 Vidalcan, gonna say
my
Hex
third
Catcher there, I'm guessing the name of that card. And Luke with quite the plethora of options, 2 Blood Moon, 2 Dampings,
Yeah.
2 Damping Sphere,
Hope so.
2 Fear Fire Foes, Get Lost, Gigantha is his companion, a Meltdown.
I think so.
You're
I
gonna
thought
have
that
to
was
help
an
with this
interesting
next one.
I thought I might have a chance at the beginning.
Yeah.
It started off really well.
Wear Tear and 2
that got a
Wrath
little
of the
wacky.
Skies.
Yeah, I would hope that he's going to bring in the Wrath of the Skies here, and then, I mean, from there, realistically,
Out against
not
See,
much
now
else. I mean,
it's over because I
maybe
can't.
potential get
I don't
lost. I
side
don't
think.
think
I don't know. I don't know.
Pure
what
Fire
they're doing.
Foes
No?
gonna really do it.
I don't even know what they do. The
Since
problem
it
is
only
that
does the one
I don't know if you
damage.
do. I don't know
Yeah,
what,
that's
like, you
not
do.
gonna get it there
That's
in
fair.
terms of
So, like,
being
I don't know how to
sweeper.
counter it. I don't know.
Any
That
consideration
makes
for
it
the
hard.
Wear Tears to try to attack these Aether Vials and constrain Frank's mana a little?
Yeah, definitely a thought. I would probably try to bring at least those in because I don't. but he's probably, I'm assuming, going to try to bring in some of those Tishanas to try to trigger off
And if
against the other trigger.
Yep. And if you have the insight into Frank's sideboard to know that those chalices are coming in, I imagine, with so many powerful one drops in Luke's deck there, that they're
give it a go?
Hail Mary.
maybe it's even correct to bring in meltdowns so that you're playing around the one mana aspect of it. You can take out Aether Vials and chalices, even if you draw it late in the game.
Yeah, and that's, that was kind of the thought behind some of that meltdown piece on the side is we figured Fish was going to be there, a lot of treasure tokens, some other things, so not a terrible decision too. So we're kind of curious to see what he brings. This is one of his first sideboarding, experiences, so he kind of was just winging it.
And especially, it's always difficult whenever you're not the person who built the deck to get in the mindset of who did build the deck and see what they were planning to bring in and bring out. And until you get a few reps under your belt with the deck, it can be very difficult to understand the plans that come along with sideboarding.
Yeah, so actually, I think now that I'm remembering, I believe he showed me that
I don't even know if mine will
he
do
brings
anything.
in 2 Blood Moon, which he is just showing Frank every
Yep, I've noticed in a couple of these rounds our players are sideboarding face up. I guess maybe just when you're not as familiar with your decks as you could be, that's a comfort to know what you're bringing in and what you're not. But Frank is getting all the free information here.
Yep, but once again, that's what this is for. It's get new players in and promote the game. And yeah, we love it. So yeah, I think he brought 2 Blood Moons, ends up with 2 of them in his hand. And he does tell me I think this was a bad decision, and I do agree with him. Yeah. So
I know. It's just like, I want to get in this time. You got 2, and you're like, oh yeah, you can use that on my life.
On Frank's side, any consideration, like I said, I think the chalices make a lot of sense with all the powerful one drop. And you are on the draw here, at least you have to assume you're going to be. Chalice might be a little slow.
Yeah, I think I'm a draw. Probably not. I think if this goes to a game 3, I'd probably bring him in, from a Goblins player and kind of that same aspect.
Definitely.
I'd want to try to control that since that deck is just so resilient.
Are we considering subtlety or Tishana's here at all?
I'd be thinking, like I said, the Tishanas and maybe some subtlety. I don't think I'm really going for Dismember in this instance here. So that's probably what I would think about.
I got both of the cards.
Maybe want to try to hit the Tishanas on a Johnny Nicodle trigger.
But I don't think I want
Yep,
to.
or the subtlety just cannot fall too far behind. Well, as our players are drawing their sevens, let's see if they're able to keep. Looks like Frank did bring in that Dismember. And I did not get a look at Diddy's hand at all there, so we'll see what he has to offer here in the coming turns. Looks like after a quick start with a 1-drop, touching up a basic plains.
Flagy sounds so mean.
And
It's a good name for that card.
Listen, I'm just figuring out how to pronounce it right now. Alright, so I got my game of life.
I have to try to.
Now I play Guide of Souls.
Okay. My go.
Magic's just not enjoyable again.
Island.
Frank off
Go
to his
ahead.
classic start with Guru Island. Looks like he also has a Force of Negation in hand.
When it enters the battlefield,
Perhaps.
I get 1 energy. And you can use energy. It's
No
posed.
Aether Vial.
Yeah, I know Aether.
So definitely going to be a slower start from Frank. Maybe he has a more resilient draw. He can build up a board to defend himself against the onslaught from this Boros deck.
Hold on a second. So
Falling in with a Ragavan and getting that
so I'm not going
energy
to counter it.
trigger.
So you cast that, you gain an energy, you gain a life, go to 20.
Yep, back up 20. Yeah, or do you have anything to?
Trying to think.
Maybe I don't want it then.
It should be in there.
Okay. Good combat.
Players are discussing something with energy, or did he just considering his options as we go into turn 2 and we're getting ready to get a little bit frisky with
your
this
turn.
Guide of Souls, perhaps?
I'm going to pay
Or maybe
4
we're
life.
considering Dismember
I'm
on
going to
that.
dismember.
Also, he did bring in Dismember.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Yeah, that's a
gives
hefty
-5,
price to
-5
pay
to
against
creature.
a 1-drop, but I
gonna
am curious to
hit
see I imagine he's considering going after
think
the
this
Guide
thing.
of Souls. Yes.
that.
Okay. So maybe
So it's
perhaps before the
dead.
Ragavan enters the battlefield,
It goes -5/-5, so it gets like around indestructible and stuff.
to
State
strand
I was like, if I hit you, you gain 4
Diddy
life
with the
now.
color.
No, that'd be sweet.
It's gonna go into the
Ragavan
negatives.
has
My
entered,
guy?
and
Yeah, I was
we
like, you
have
can hit it because it'll just sit there and do its thing. I
one
don't need to
energy.
attack with it.
But again, that Aether has a bit of a
K2.
liability at times
Chalice of the Void on
if
one.
you can't get the energy flowing.
So here comes the chalice.
Chalice coming in.
Yeah.
Alright, so basically, if any player
Weird
casts
is coming
a
in,
spell
but-
with converted mana cost 1, it gets
Two
countered.
1-drops in underneath the chalice. I think
Wait,
with
what
the
happens?
basic planes still
When a
past
spell
the
that has a
second turn, you
converted
can
mana cost
assume
of
that he
1, so this
doesn't
adds up to 1,
have
it gets countered.
another white 1-drop at least.
So I just can't play anything with one.
And the
Yeah, but
Ragavan
neither
being
can I.
legend, it's
Oh, okay.
stranded
So
in the
anyone
same
gets
well. So I don't
countered.
know
Technically,
how
we're supposed to call the triggers,
effective
but
Chalice is
But
going
I'm
to
assuming
be.
you don't
So
have
maybe
much.
to
What
your point on the
Is it just
on
creatures or is
the
it
draw,
game 2?
Anything.
maybe it shouldn't
Yeah,
have
game
come in, but
Well, that's
there
not
are a
fun.
heck of a lot of 1-drops in Boros energy.
So
So
yeah, I mean, it's got static prison, lightning
Oh,
bolt,
that's
galvanic
not good.
discharge.
I
So
can't
still
even
probably
play
not a terrible thing. It's gonna help remove any
That's
of
what
the
I'm hoping
removal
for.
that he's gonna have for Frank's board. I think, potential
Yeah,
just
so I
still
got a
sacrificing.
14.
Still not a bad
Yep,
move.
and
I
then
just,
give me
treasure,
it's gonna come in handy here. I think it lined up really well.
silver
Yeah,
gold.
so whereas I was considering it more as a
Pay an extra
aggressive
3 unless
move,
you're
maybe it's a
going Merfolk,
defensive
though.
move to make sure that the creatures that he does play, while he doesn't
Alright.
have this Aether Vial
Untap.
available, that they're going to get a chance to stick around as he's locked down Diddy's removal suite.
Yeah, so get one
Island.
card off of Frank here from the Ragavan. But looks like we have the Tashana's in hand, which he might be holding off for. I'm assuming.
Sacrifice.
That's a tempting target right there. And I'm on although I suppose it's off the battlefield by the time. I don't know if Tashana's targets the permanent or if it targets the ability itself.
The ability itself.
Yes.
Searching up basic mountain, probably very aware of the flood moon after how the last match ended, and perhaps getting in there with a Ragavan. It looks like we're considering.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go for it. I think Frank
Damage
probably
will go
considering
through, so I go
hitting the
to
Tashana
12.
I tried to
on
sideboard all
the
this, I
actual.
think it's good.
Yep.
I got
Yep,
both
I
of
think he's
them,
gonna
and I'm
actually
like,
Tashana
please don't
on
do
the
anything. Now that I think about it.
ability of
I'm
the
gonna
Ragavan
counter
when
the
there's a
ability
trigger.
going off.
So he takes the damage and prevents the ability from
Is
coming
this too
through.
distinct though?
And now that Tashana
Very
can
exhausting.
stay back and block
Create
forward.
treasure
I
token.
think
Yeah,
now
so
that I
that's
see
my
him, I'm
treasure.
thinking that's a bad choice.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to kind
really,
of catch it
really
there
good
and not lose the
choice.
Tashana so early. But
Yes.
Hopefully continue to suppress Diddy's mana advantage by preventing that trigger token as well.
I think it was a Harbinger of the Seas off the top, so
Yeah, that looks like it. Which Diddy does have some resiliency too with the
I'm
2
going
3/6 in the
to
Schwarzler.
play a Silver Guild Adept, revealing
yeah,
Silver
just
Guild
gonna
Adept
draw-
to a card.
Draw based off the
Yeah, that'd be nice of me, wouldn't it?
2/1.
draw a card.
and hopefully
Absolutely, I'll draw a card.
Go to combat, swing 3 at you, take you to 16. I should be at 12. And then go ahead.
getting in with Tashana's, leaving the 2/1 back to block against Ragavan. And Frank is beginning to stabilize this board a bit. Another 8 able to cast anything in his deck.
oh, we're coming out here. Okay.
The One Ring,
The One Ring.
so I will counter that.
The Force of Negation may have something to say about that.
Force
Looks
of
like we're going for it.
negation, pitching.
Discarding maybe another Tashana's.
Shauna's tied.
Yep, looks like that is going to
So
be the
that
play.
gets exiled.
Definitely worth it with that One Ring. Can really run away with the game, find Diddy all sorts of threats and potential removal, although, like you mentioned, the Chalice has most of the removal locked down.
Yep. Alright, your turn.
Okay. Untap.
Frank moving to untap. Lots of blue mana on that side.
Oh, here we go. There's the Lord. And hand still struggling with a little bit of mana here without the Aether Vial.
Pay
But actually, looks like you might
3
go with the Harbinger of the Seas.
for Harbinger of the Seas.
Yeah,
All
with the-
non-basics are islands.
Now,
So these two
two
guys are islands now.
non-basics that are both able to produce mana of any color. That has to be tempting to get that down.
So I think you still take. I think you still try to beat in here. Even with the Ragavan, I think you make that trade.
Swing a 3/2 and a
Yeah,
2/1.
it's interesting. Who in this matchup has the inevitability? I am tempted to say that it's the Merfolk side, especially with Diddy's removal locked down. Frank's creatures are just going to grow and grow and surpass what the Boros energy deck is
Still use this.
Yeah, you can still use them.
That says there's much risk
That's not as bad as I thought
with
it
this
was.
attack.
It's not super
I may
bad.
have left the 2/1 back, so you don't have to
But-
risk taking off your Harbinger.
Actually was
I'll
like
use
Then
two
again,
water
there's
and
just a
these,
2/1
and
now. It's
I'll try to
Tashawn's
get
just
Another one ring.
All right,
huh?
let's
another
try
one
another
ring.
one ring.
There's two actually.
Does he just have the secondary
This one too.
force?
Yeah.
that or the
Flare denial.
new
I'll sack
Monster
this to
Horizon
counter
3
that.
card where he can sacrifice.
That's twice.
Yeah, a little flare denial action there.
And Merfolk one of the
How dare you?
Like if I want to play
everything, I
something,
think,
yeah, if I want
as
to
I
play something
imagine.
that's good, like
Yeah, that's why we all hate blue.
Hold that thought.
You can't do that.
Listen, I'm the good blue guy. I stop the other blue guys. I keep the meaner blue guys in check.
the tension of that flare.
That's my whole
I
job.
don't want to discard
I can't
your
play anything
Ragavan
like
for whatever the red
Right.
card does. I don't even know what that one does.
when your
How about
ancestors
you,
are
dude?
nice,
So something
Put me on my list.
the blue one definitely
try.
should be by far the best.
No, all of them. Flare Malice gets played. The green one, Flare Cultivation, not as much for green. The white one, I'm not even sure.
I know it gives your creatures indestructible or
Master of Pearl
something,
Trident.
and it seems kind of silly after you
Gives
sacrifice the
+1/+1
creature there,
island
but
walk
when you're
to my
going wide,
creatures.
perhaps it's
Yeah,
worth
yeah,
it.
Flare forward too. I think that's what it is. Yeah. So I think the red one's the only one.
7 unblockable.
Yeah,
So I'm 4.
leading in with the it's a 3
Has
green
an island
island
walk,
to the
yeah.
Lord,
Yeah, island
and
walk.
island walk, yeah. It's so easy to forget, at least for me, that Merfolk just cannot be blocked
long as
at
this guy's
this stage. You just immediately want to start trading off, and that's part of why they. Part of why they
You countered? Oh,
snowball
true.
Yeah, so
typically.
it's countered.
Diddy tries to go for it.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
the
I forgot. You
aggressive
can't
play
roll
of
away.
that
I can't
static
play.
prison trying to force it through the challenge.
I can play this,
with
except
a
it does
commanding
absolutely nothing.
insertion on
This is I'm gonna reveal what I sideboarded.
Okay.
I didn't know what your lands were.
Frank's been playing Chalice
And so I
Fish
tried to do
Land.
this to see if I could
Yeah.
do what you did
All
to
right,
me.
we
And
tried
I was like,
Blood
well,
Brothers.
then I saw you
Okay.
pick them up, and I was like, well, those aren't.
So that actually overwrites this, and it turns those into mountains, so my guys aren't blockable anymore.
Islands.
Oh, nice.
Which is a little bit of a problem.
As opposed to hurting
Well, I went into something else,
And
so I
it's
played it.
Island Walk.
So I
Yeah, I've done that earlier.
Shuts off
go
my
into
stays off when he does. You did draw the Flare of Denial.
What?
interesting to see if it's worth discarding the last card in hand for, or I suppose you're sacrificing a creature, not discarding. Still,
I think with having him at 4, he's got to. I think he's got one on board.
and I wonder if this is before
Yeah,
combat.
so Blood
if
Moon
Diddy has the
is in
ability, if he
effect,
sacrifices
because
this
of
to
timestamps,
Shauna,
this
to tap
happened
in with
last,
the
so these
Ragavan.
are mountains. I don't know.
It seems like maybe there's some question as to how this is working, but
Now it's my
I
turn.
believe
Oh, you played that on your turn.
Oh, it's still my turn.
and it's whoever played it
Yeah, well, I
last.
can't do anything
You
else.
know, these things do tend to get a little bit complicated, but
That's correct. So it looks like it stays, which would layer it to be Diddy's Aether Hubs are back to mountains.
yep.
You've got
A little
one
bit of a
mana,
hand battle here.
so you can't
Right.
cast anything. So
They don't know which color they want.
Yeah,
3,
at this
2,
point, the Merfolk might just be big enough to come jamming in and
Yeah,
force
'cause
jump
enough
blocks
will go through.
regardless.
Yeah, I think that's game.
Alright.
Yeah,
You killed
that's
me.
the-
Yeah, I put 2 of those in there, and I got them both. And I realized that they're useless.
yeah, it doesn't do much to
Even
me.
though they weren't that, they weren't
Yeah,
completely useless.
round 2 going.
If you had it in
to-
the main deck,
or
that's actually kind of
yeah.
nice for shutting off
Game
Island
2
They
of
were
that
just
match going with Frank.
mostly
He
useless.
remains undefeated and will definitely be in our top 4. It remains to be seen if Diddy will make it here or not.